We are streaming live on YouTube. So Ms. Dr. Kempke, I'm going to hand hosting responsibility over to you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, it's 6:30. We have 28 participants, so I think we'll get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Taylor, and I am the new director of the San Mateo Adult School, and I will be your moderator this evening. I'm really excited to be here. Welcome, San Mateo Union High School District community, to the next installment of our Black Parent Association. We are so very excited to have you all here today for such an important purpose. And we have a full agenda prepared for you this evening. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to introduce you to our superintendent, Dr. Kevin Skelly.
Thank you, Angela. It's great to be here. And I just want to introduce, I know we have principals and staff on there, but when you're the superintendent, you want to make sure that you take care of the board members who are in attendance. So I want to make sure I introduce two of them that I see in the list of folks who are here. There may be others who attend as we go on, but Peter Hanley is the vice president of the board, and he's here, as well as the board president, Mr. Bob Griffin, who will be making some comments as we go along.
You're muted, Angela.
Okay, thank you. Just following protocol. Thank you, Dr. Skelly. So this evening, we have a full agenda, as I mentioned, and I will briefly just go over that for you. We've had our welcome. Next, we will go into breakout rooms to have some opportunity for community building. We will then have Black Parent Association updates and coming events and discuss a little bit about that. We'll hear from our amazing student leaders and hear shared voices. We will then look at our district report card updates and as well as our Panorama Climate Implicit Bias Survey results. And then finally, at the end, we will have our question and answer opportunity and our closing. So before we proceed with the Black Parent Association updates, I would like to share with everyone that tonight's event will focus on building community among us. We had a prior event where it was more of a webinar, but this tonight is a chance for us to really be able to connect. We have created an opportunity and a space for everyone to become more acquainted, and we'll move from this larger Zoom group to smaller groups in breakout rooms. Again, this is an opportunity where you can share thoughts and have conversations more personally for 10 minutes. Once the time ends, you will be prompted and automatically returned to the larger group. Thank you. Julia, are you?
All right. So I'm going to put up the prompts for the breakout rooms, and we are going to have about 4 to 5 folks in each room. And here are the prompts. Just share who you are, what your affiliation to our school district or the school that you affiliate with, what brings you here tonight, and then what is your superpower. So just time to get to know everyone that's here this evening. So you should just be automatically prompted to go into a room. So I'm opening those now, and there's 4 to 5 folks per room. Welcome, Shannon. I don't know if you can hear me.
Hi.
Hi. So actually, we have we just started the meeting by putting people into breakout rooms to just to get to know some folks that are here tonight. So I can zoom you into a breakout room if you want to meet some of the folks
Sure.
that we have here tonight. Okay.
Sure.
So I'm going to assign you to a room right now, and you should just automatically move there. So
Thank you.
thanks. Oops, you know what? Someone else started attending. I moved that, Jabari, I think it is. So I'm going to move you to another room. Here, hold on. Okay. Okay. Welcome, Alston and Darlene. Were you both in a breakout room or are you just joining the meeting? I'm sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah, I was just,
Hi.
hello.
Yeah, I'm just joining.
Okay, so everybody is in a breakout room right now and just getting to know people in the meeting. So there are groups of 4 or 5. They've been in there about 5 minutes. I don't know if you just want to be in a breakout room right here and we can introduce ourselves. I'm helping host the technical piece of it. So the questions that people are sharing, can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so they're just talking about this, introducing themselves, their affiliation with the district or which school they affiliate with, what brought you here tonight, and then what's your superpower. So I don't know if you know each other, but well, then let's share. We'll be our own little group of 3.
Okay.
So we're not, otherwise I'd move you into a room and they're probably ready in mid-conversation, so.
Yeah. Well, I can go first. I'm Nicole Alston. My daughter is a 10th grader at Aragon. And what brought me here, I just received the notes and am interested in hearing what others in the community are experiencing, want to talk about. And then superpower is survival.
Fair.
Yeah, wow. Thank you. My name is Darlene, and my daughter's a senior at Cappuccino, and she's the co-president of the BSU. And so it's interesting. I overheard her talking to someone about speaking in the meeting tonight. So I was like, okay, I better see what's going on, because I hadn't received notices of these meetings before this year. So I'm not sure how I missed that. And then I guess superpower is just, people, working with people. I'm a school administrator in San Francisco. And so I get lots of practice.
Well, welcome. My name is Julia Kempke, and I'm the assistant superintendent here. And Darlene, I just want to answer your question. These are the first meetings like this, where there's one in October, and then this is the second one that has been hosted like this. So, so obviously I'm affiliated with the district and that I work here, and I'm just trying to be a support to Medina, who's the president of the Black Parents Association. So. Working the Zoom for her and making sure that things work technically well. And so my superpower, I guess I'll just say, I'm doing okay with Zoom. I don't know. Even though it's like the bane of my existence.
Yeah, it seems like our whole life is now on Zoom. We could have never imagined
Yeah.
that this would be it. Mm-hmm.
What school are you at, Darlene, in San Francisco?
I'm at Star King, which is an elementary school in Potrero Hill.
Okay.
And I actually came from secondary. My whole career was in secondary till about 5 years ago. And I love it. I don't think I'm ever going back to secondary. Not with my kids or anyone else's.
Welcome. I think we have 2 more people joining us. So there are more than 4 people or 5 people in this meeting. It's just that we're in breakout rooms right now. So we were making our own little group here and sharing, if you see the screen on these things. So if you're able to share, I know one of you may be on your phone, or you're welcome to unmute and just share. We're trying to give people a chance to get to know each other in this setting. But if not, I totally understand. Some people just want to listen. Well, Darlene, I'll say my father was a middle school counselor for like 25 years. And then he went down to elementary and just loved it. And was like, he ended his career there and was just so happy about being with the younger ones.
Yes, it's a whole different world. I wasn't sure it would be for me because I just kept thinking, oh, there's so many germs. Those little kids are sticky.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna just ask how much more. Welcome if you're joining us. Just so you know, there's more than just the few of us here. We're in breakout rooms right now. So we were sharing the things that you can see on my screen, but I'm just about to close the breakout room. So people are probably going to start trickling back in. Okay, I see folks are coming back. So I closed the room too, so people are going to get prompted to return.
Okay.
Welcome back as people return. Everyone's getting prompted to come back out of their breakout room. Sometimes it's better just to choose when you leave. Otherwise, it's kind of jerks you out of them. So
Yeah.
For sure.
I think we have a few more people coming back. Oh, here we go. Yeah, everybody's back. Okay, looks like everyone's back. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had insightful and collaborative exchanges with each other. Ms. Medina McKinney will now move us forward. Thank you.
Maybe if I come off of mute, you guys could all hear what I'm saying. Happy New Year to everyone. You can go to the next slide, Julia. Wonderful, excellent. So, Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining us again this evening for another installment of Unity in the Community. My name is Medina McKinney, and I am the board president of the Black Parents Association. I'm super happy to come together to build community, support our students, and also to support equity in action for 2021. As we get into this evening, I hope you had a good time learning more about the community and also our amazing superpowers. I know that many of us have them. Tonight, BPA is going to follow up on some of the items that we talked about last Unity in the Community. But before we do, I wanted to share with you guys some of the good work that we did in 2020, starting with a message from our 2020 Baccalaureate Scholarship Award recipients. You're not sharing.
oh, is it not?
No, I don't think you're sharing the sound, Julia.
And I clicked the button. Hold on one second.
Oh, no. You know what? You're just actually, it's just muted on the video. That's all. And then if you just restart it.
My name is Kennedy Berthium, and the baccalaureate scholarship has been very helpful to me. It helps me cover tuition since I attend a private university. It helps me cover costs of travel since I have to fly across the country for school. And it really helps me cover textbook costs since those can be very expensive. One piece of advice that I would give to underclassmen preparing for college is to not procrastinate. It's not
Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness. Medina, you had me so.
Hi, my name is Kennedy Berthium, and the baccalaureate scholarship has been very helpful to me. It helps me cover tuition since I attend a private university. It helps me cover costs of travel since I have to fly across the country for school. And it really helps me cover textbook costs since those can be very expensive. One piece of advice that I would give to underclassmen preparing for college is to not procrastinate. It's not helpful and it won't help you get anywhere when preparing for college. Good luck and remember to start early.
Association. I just want to say that the original scholarship that you awarded me has helped me pay for school, for books, for my dorms, so just stuff that was on my back that I was able to relieve because of the scholarship. So I want to thank you for that. And to the students that are currently preparing for college, I would say that you guys need to keep your head up high. My grades weren't up to par my junior and sophomore year, and I was able to continue my path and improve my grades and my GPA my senior year. And I was able to get into all my top choices around the country for HBCUs, and I'm very proud of myself. So I would just say keep your head up, keep striving for more, and keep on pushing, whether it be grades or extracurricular activities.
The Baccalaureate Scholarship Award has allowed me to cover day-to-day living expenses as a college student, and it's also helped me to purchase books and other materials for my courses. If there's one piece of advice that I could give to underclassmen currently preparing for college, it would be to look into different resources and opportunities on the campuses of the schools that you're interested in, and really kind of have a game plan, before you go to college in terms of things you'd be interested in participating in on campus.
Hi, my name is Sean Cotton, and I'm one of the BPA scholarship recipients from the class of 2020. This scholarship has helped me pay off my expenses such as tuitions and books. This scholarship has also helped me be more appreciative and be more motivated to give back to my community. One piece of advice I would give to the graduating class is when you're ready to choose a college, don't regret it and be confident in your decisions because everything's a learning experience. Again, thank you so much for the scholarship and helping me through my college journey.
The baccalaureate scholarship assisted greatly in payments for my tuition and textbooks. This helped alleviate some of the costs of higher education, which can be very difficult to pay for. My advice to underclassmen would be to not set expectations too high of yourself. It is important to be organized and want to do well and succeed, but be kind to yourself if things don't go as well as you planned. The pandemic has brought many challenges. Any setbacks you may face, don't let it impede you from achieving your goals.
The Black Parents Association of the San Mateo Union High School District is new and improved. We are.
There you go. Well, we are exceedingly proud of our 2020 recipients, and we wish them the best of luck on their journey and continued success as they continue. And for the underclassmen who are actually on the call tonight, I truly hope that their words of advice resonate with you and you got something out of it. And speaking about excitement, the end of 2020 for BPA was a true glow up moment for us. As you can see, we have a new look and a new style. Our branding has completely changed from what it used to be. But one thing that still holds true is our mission and our core values. We are still very much dedicated to cooperatively promoting quality and equitable education for students while offering the best level of support and information to both students and their families. That will never, ever change. Now, one thing that changed besides our brand and our look was our website. Now it offers several new tools and resources. And now, Julia, we can take a look.
The Black Parents Association of the San Mateo Union High School District is new and improved. We are excited to announce our new website where students can find information on our annual baccalaureate ceremony and scholarship program. Participation applications and scholarship forms can be submitted online, including the Student Scholarship Personal Essay. Downloadable forms are also available. Our new donation and membership section provides detailed information on supporting the BPA and how to become a member. Now, becoming a member can be done at a click of a button. We're excited to share the new resource page, providing tools and valuable information, helping to create our world's future leaders.
So as you can see, things are much different from our older site, and we are super happy to offer more resources and tools. So I hope that you all will check it out and visit and use all of those exciting tools. But as we look ahead into 2021, we are also very excited to welcome our newest board member, Dana Harris. We're exceedingly happy to have him with his extensive knowledge in academia and his true dedication to civic engagement. He has over 15 years of education, and he is simply a rock star. So please help me welcome Mr. Dana Harris. Dana.
Thank you very much, Medina, for the introduction. I sound like a famous person the way you said that. But greetings to everyone here on the call. I'm excited to be here. Just really grateful to be in another position to serve more students on a greater capacity. I'm looking forward to working with the BPA and just helping what they have already put in place to serve the students of the San Mateo Union High School District. And I've already hit the ground running. I've been doing a lot of things working beside Medina, and I'm looking forward to serving you all.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dana. We are exceedingly, like I said, exceedingly happy to have you. And you are right. We hit the ground running, and we are going to keep that momentum going. We will not stop now. So as we move forward, this year is really exciting for us. And we are planning many, many exciting events for our families as well as our youth. And that is about equity in action in the year of 2021. And some of you may ask, what is that? Simply put, it is through collaboration with several of our partners and other entities to strengthen the educational landscape for our students. So what we have up next are, next slide. Yes, a few events that we've already had planned. The first event was originally scheduled for January 28th, which has to be postponed. So please keep an eye out for that. And that's dual enrollment. That was that is an evening hosted with Fabian Morales to talk about the benefits of dual enrollment and middle college and how it might be a viable option for students in their college journey, or their road to college, excuse me. And then what I'm really excited about on February 2nd is our partnership with Silicon Valley Community Foundation. That is an evening who will be presented by Dean Taylor, who is the scholarship officer, who is going to present a plethora of valuable information like A to G planning, how to pay for college, and so much more in that evening. So please mark your calendars and do not miss that event, My College Pathway. More information will be coming out literally tomorrow, so don't miss it. Then March 1st, the 36th annual Baccalaureate Scholarship application process opens for graduating seniors within the San Mateo Union High School District, as well as Sarah and the Crystal Springs Upland Schools. So if you are a graduating senior, please keep an eye out because more information will be coming and disseminated to you. So again, Very exciting things happening in the next few weeks. Now, there is also another set of events that haven't quite been scheduled yet, but we are working on it. This is going to be our actual 36th annual baccalaureate ceremony. This year, it will be virtual just because of the pandemic. This will be the event where those recipients of the scholarship award will be announced, as well as celebration of all that the graduating seniors have done. A very exciting event. The BPA State of the Union is going to be a student-led event, bringing together BIPOC students within the district, a really safe space for them to discuss topics that matter most to them. So we're working on getting that scheduled. And then lastly, student and parent focus groups led by Dr. Mary Bacon. Tentatively, the parent focus groups are scheduled for February 9th. And then the parent focus group is February 9th. The student focus group is the first week of February. So if you have any interest, we are going to send out a survey at the end of this event. So please respond if you have any interest in the event. We really want to go a little bit deeper and have a better understanding of how we can truly support the needs of the families and our students and understand what are some of the pain points that you have and where there are gaps, but also what we could be doing better and what we are doing well in service of our students. So in that, please stay connected to stay informed. If you're not currently following us on all these different channels, social media, you guys know it, the internets, Facebook, Instagram, website, please make sure to connect with us so that you don't miss out on valuable information. And with that, I'm really excited to pass the mic to an amazing group of young women who are raising the bar within their schools and also their communities to lead change. I am pleased to welcome Aaliyah Stewart, BSU President at Mills High School, Ananda Nelson, BSU Co-President at Capuchino High School, and Tara Lynn Wong, BSU Co-President at Capuchino High School. Aaliyah.
Hi everyone, my name is Aaliyah Stewart and I'm the President of the Mills Black Student Union, and I'm here tonight to discuss being a leader in my community. Growing up in Millbrae and in the San Mateo County, I did not see a lot of people who looked like me. I didn't feel as represented as other kids may have felt. When I first started attending Mills, I was super excited to join the Black Student Union because I believed that it would give me a chance to finally feel at home in my community and for my voice to finally be heard. When I became president at the latter end of my sophomore year in early 2020, before the pandemic hit, I was absolutely delighted. I wanted to give other Black students at Mills something they felt they could rely on and feel supported from, because I know it's exhausting seeing so few people who look like you. And I just wanted to provide a foundation and community for them within our school and community. When it comes to my role as the Mills Black Student Union president, I wanted to be someone that younger students could feel that they could look up to and see as a role model. And I plan to use my power as the president to ensure that Black voices in my community and in my school are heard and lifted up by our administration and guarantee that change is made. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Ananda, and I reignited the Black Student Union at my school because I felt like there wasn't a sense of community and empowerment between the Black students that we needed. I noticed it because a year before, my mom placed me in a group for Black girls run by Stand for students. Those leaders inspired me to become one myself and uplift Black kids the way they were. Currently in the BSU, we've been empowering the students by giving them options to lead discussions. They do their own research on topics of their interest and present it to the group. Not only does this help build confidence with public speaking and research, but it educates the group on topics they might not have known about before. We also have been empowering them by bringing in guest speakers. Students get to ask the speakers questions, which helps build confidence with public speaking. The speakers also oftentimes tell their stories and give advice. Our first speaker gave us the advice of not being afraid to reach out, and since then, other students have been reaching out to get us more speakers and volunteering in our projects. Thanks for listening.
Hi, my name is Long, and sorry, am I interrupting? No. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. So my name is Helen Wong, and I'm co-president of the Cappuccino BSU. The BSU is a place where students are able to liberate and empower themselves. The slogan of advocate, educate, celebrate resonates with me because these are the actions of a leader. We came up with the slogan together when we were evaluating the club's purpose and priorities. I knew that I needed to be a part of the BSU because this would be the place that sparked change. I became a leader to build a community for students that need a safe space. I also wanted to give others the opportunity to express themselves freely and make sure that their voices are heard. A major role I play to make a difference on campus is by connecting students to different resources like our guest speaker, Dr. Sears, who encouraged us to start talking about race and how to overcome it. One of the projects that we have been working on is how to talk about race. And the BSU wanted to assess the racial climate and how safe students felt on campus, so we conducted a survey. The results were alarming. Most students have seen or experienced racism either from students or staff members or both. In order to start change, we must address the climate that we live in and start a conversation. In open discussion, the BSU was able to organize an open dialogue with our principal, Mr. Boyce, and our assistant principals about race and the racial climate on campus. We presented the data and asked them what they would do to fight racism. We wanted to make an anti-racism a part of our school's culture, so faculty members made a page on the school's website visible to the public, highlighting the school's commitment to anti-racism. Simple changes like this brings attention to the reality that there's no unity in a community without inclusivity and the acknowledgement of inequity and the injustices that are happening today. Honestly, I never felt represented at school. The BSU offered a community to me on school grounds. However, in a classroom setting, I never saw someone that looked like me. The BSU, I wanted to know if having a teacher who represented the Black community could start to change the school's culture and promote success. We've been researching the impact of Black and the effects that they have on the school culture. Results suggest that Black teachers boost students' academic outcomes, reduce suspensions, raise expectations, and even recruit less racist teachers into the profession. And this research suggests that increasing the number of Black teachers should be a part of any serious strategy, especially for our district. And this was a quote from Andrea M. Perry, who wrote the book Know Your Price. The fact is, we need more teachers who understand the challenges faced the challenges that students face and who simply are more empathetic towards students. Especially during times of crisis, students need advocates and motivators to influence and encourage students to think critically beyond high school. The district has the power to decide who will be the next person to empower the young adults of tomorrow, and I'm asking you to represent the district's large population by trying to diversify the teachers who are in our everyday lives. Representation within staff members, especially in teachers, are needed as there are many benefits to students from all backgrounds. I'm challenging the district to listen to what has been said tonight and to take action by standing beside the students. Will you be a part of the change that will benefit the growth and well-being of other students? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our amazing student leaders. You are so important and critical to this work. You are our present and our future leaders. You are the movement and the change that we seek. And it is so important, not just for the district leaders to make change, but with students together making that change. So thank you for your courageousness and for sharing such thoughtful words with all of us. We were really honored to have you here tonight. So now we will move on to the district report card.
Good evening. My name is Brian Simmons. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Assessment for the San Mateo Union High School District. Happy New Year, everybody. Superintendent Skelly and I are going to take these kind of updates that emerged out of the last convening. So there were a few kind of questions and concerns that were raised. We're going to respond to a couple of them here, and then I'll move into a survey. So the first one I'm going to take, and basically I just want to say that the first one was related to does the district have kind of explicit outreach to African American students as part of the welcome into the district? And while the district schools do much to support the orientation and onboarding of students into the school community, we don't do anything explicitly district-wide for African American students. And we take that feedback and certainly will work to implement it, because we think it's a good idea, not just obviously for African American students alone, but that's certainly one group that we would want to address. Superintendent Skelly, let me hand it off to you to say a little bit about the use of the N-word on campus and what we're engaged in around that.
Right. So since our last meeting, we've been talking about this, and this has been an ongoing conversation that we've had as administrators, certainly in the now 6 years that I've been in the district. And it's, I'd say, one of the most explosive and most difficult part for administrators to address, both when it happens in school and then when it happens on social media, when it spills over into school, when students use the N-word outside of school, and then there are consequences and that spill over into school. And then also sort of the fact that it's so much used by some people in music and entertainment, and it really causes a lot of challenges for administrators. I'd say, maybe the top issue that we deal with. We're, as with all of our disciplinary issues, we place a high emphasis on restorative actions, which are, how do we take care of the victim in situations like this, the person who's been impacted by that? How can students work? What do our students learn? What are the learning outcomes that can come from this experience for the whole class? We've been particularly interested lately as a result of some of the conversations in our equity task force and our student conversations with administrators about, what do teachers stop the class and have those kinds of conversations? Are teachers using that as a learning moment, going into detail to go through that? And so that's really an important part. We don't have a set sort of, you do this, you get this consequence, but we really look at it as intent and impact, the student use, the violence of the word, the consequences. So it's not something that we've been able to figure out a specific way to respond to, but it is something that we take very seriously, and there's always a learning and stopping moment and the seriousness with which we do that as we go forward. I think you take the third question here, Brian.
Yeah. So the last question is kind of an update on where we are with regard to representation in the curriculum. And I would just say, broadly speaking, that the social science faculty in particular is doing a review of our courses. In particular, our modern world history course is sort of our first course, and that is going to be coming to the board in March or April. And then we've been doing some ongoing work over the last couple of years, starting a number of years back, but culminating in the spring of 2018, the beginning of an adoption of a set of culturally responsive novels and texts in the books. It actually goes beyond just novels, but that's the majority of the books are novels. That work actually continues as we speak, as our faculty identify texts to be brought in. They take them through a process and we adopt them. So that is ongoing. I will make sure, I actually thought I was going to put it here and I didn't. I'll make sure on the slide deck to link the actual list of culturally responsive texts that we've adopted over the last couple of years, just so folks know what that list is. And it is certainly being implemented throughout the schools in different ways, but certainly across the sites. So I think we'll move on to the next slide. If so, it's been great to hear a number of both the students kind of calls for action and also the need and kind of we're going to look at some data right now that affirms a lot of what students are saying kind of anecdotally. The student union presidents have been saying in this meeting. We as a district conducted this survey. Panorama is the name of the company that creates the survey. We conducted it with students back in mid-November. It was administered to all students in the district. Not every student completed it. You can see the completion rates here. The purpose of the survey was to solicit feedback from students about their experience in our schools related to the culture and climate, as well as some questions related to their social emotional well-being. I'm not going to focus on the social emotional well-being stuff for this session, but actually that related to school climate and culture as relates to issues of race, diversity, and hate speech, since those are areas of focus for this group and certainly for the district and board. And so as you can see here, basically, about 80% of students responded to the survey overall across the district, and you can see the response rates among sort of key student subgroups. And so I want to quickly get into, because we want to spend some time actually I want to really spend the balance of time having you all talk about it. So I'm going to jump into the next slide, please. So the survey in this particular area is broken up into these three broad categories. We're going to just focus on a couple of them: cultural awareness and action and hate motivated speech. But basically diversity inclusion was basically the extent to which students, how diverse, integrated, and fair school is for students from different races, ethnicities, and cultures. And you see a relatively high score for that. Sort of students generally responded favorably to that area. Where we saw lower levels of student positive response was in this area of cultural awareness and action. And that is how often students learn about, discuss, and confront issues of race, ethnicity in school and culture in the classroom, in school. And then the last area is related to hate motivated speech. That may be the most obvious one, I suppose, but it's the extent to which students experience or witness acts of intolerance on campus and the extent to which those issues are effectively redressed by adults on campus. If we can move to the next slide, we'll start to look at some of the specific data. So this first slide has to do with, it's specifically a question that asks students how confident they are that students in the school can have honest conversations about race. Again, this is referenced by some of our students just a few minutes ago. As you can see, African-American students had one of the lower rates of positivity related to this question, meaning that they felt less confident that their classmates could engage in honest conversations about race. Next slide. So the next question was really had to do with how well does our schools help students speak out against racism? Again, another theme that was raised by the students a few minutes ago. This next slide is really, as you can see, only about 57% of students overall felt like the schools were doing quite or well or extremely well assisting in this area. And African-American students had an even lower kind of had an even lower rate of response to this question. So an area of growth for us as a district. Next slide. The final area I'll read from the survey in the area of cultural awareness and action is this question related to the extent to which adults at our schools take up major news events related to race when they come up. Overall, students were quite positive about their responses to this question, with over 80% of them responding affirmatively to it. However, you can see that African-American students had one of the lower positive response rates to this question. but still above 60%. I'm now remembering that I was supposed to say something at the beginning of this presentation about why we've split out the two, sort of there's two groups of African-American students in this chart, and they actually, in all the charts, but they actually track pretty consistently overall. You'll see that there's a column that says Black, and that's students who've told us that they are singularly African-American in our census information. Then we also have, it's the second to the last column that says 2 or more, and it says AA. That's 2 or more races, and one of those races is African-American. That group of students is actually a larger group of students in the district relative to the African-American student population, when students who just tell us they are African-American only, if you will. And so commingling them together, it's a couple hundred students. But again, the experience of students in both of these groups is very similar, but we don't commingle them because formally, officially, they are actually 2 or more race students, and we want to make sure that people are clear kind of the distinction there, even though, of course, students are lots of things, most students, myself included. And so this one is, again, this one was about how often we address issues of race when they come up in the news, and overall students felt positive about that. Next slide, please. So now we're going to move into the last chunk here, which has to do with hate-motivated speech on our campuses. And this first one is related to the extent to which students think that adults effectively respond to incidents of hate-motivated speech. And as you can see, and actually this is reflective of many anecdotal pieces of feedback that we've received recently, and is highlighted in the recent grand jury report, if any of you know about that. Nearly half or fewer of students across all groups reported that the district, that adults are responding effectively to these incidents. Next slide. This penultimate slide is one of the two where we ask students to tell us about the micro or kind of casual incidents of racism that do or don't happen in day-to-day interactions on campus. And this question shows that many students across racial groups, but certainly disproportionately among African-American students, experience what is termed casual racism, or that occurs in social interactions with peers. And then the next slide on the data. This final data point shows the extent to which students are experiencing microaggressions on their campuses. As you can see, African-American students reported a much higher incidence of that than other groups, but all groups are clearly experiencing them to some degree. So next slide. I did, before we sort of jump into we want to have you all kind of reflect on and process what you just saw there. And so what I did want to say, though, is that there are a few things we are engaged in, both because of this data, but also because of ongoing work across the district. That there's a few key initiatives that we are engaged in. And the first is that we are putting out, we are sort of establishing an anti-racist teaching professional learning initiative in the district, and we're putting out an RFP. A task force has been established to both create, to give us feedback about the RFP, and then ultimately to go out and vet the proposals that we receive from providers. And certainly, if any of you in this convening have any ideas for potential providers, please let us know, and or just forward directly. The RFP is hyperlinked on the slide deck. You can see it there, and you are welcome to forward that on to potential providers of anti-racist teaching professional learning for our staff. And we expect that training is going to begin in this spring, summer, and will obviously continue into ongoing work, or into the next school year and beyond. I would say that the last thing, just quickly, is that the district did receive a grand jury. Well, the county, and then in particular, our district received a set of findings from a grand jury that was impaneled. And we are responding in an ongoing way to those issues that have specifically to do with issues of hate-related speech that have happened on our campuses. So do know that there are some activities and initiatives underway to address and redress a number of these issues. But with that, if we can move to the next slide, we did want to give you all a few minutes to talk through kind of what you notice in the data in the data that was just shared. What further questions do you have about the data? And then what does the data tell us about what we need to address, to the extent that, I haven't said anything, about it. So in terms of initiatives that we have in place. So if, I think, Julia, you're managing the breakout groups here. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
And I think if my suggestion was that we maybe go back to our original groups, unless you want to mix us up again.
There are folks that joined us after that first breakout room, so
it's a reshuffle.
I so people are going to have to reintroduce themselves to their new group members. And I also realized that Brian, if you want people to share on the Jamboard, that we should share, we'll share the slides. So we can do that in the chat now. I don't know, Laura, if you can share the slides in the chat right now. And then when I move you into the breakout rooms, we would love to hear your responses on the Jamboard, but it's not necessary. You can just have a conversation too. But other than that, we're ready to go to the breakout rooms, Brian?
Perfect. I think we're just about ready. I was just, sorry, copying and pasting. So now folks have access to the slide deck. This is obviously down toward the bottom of the slide deck. And you will find, again, if you feel motivated and so moved to indicate on the Jamboard, you can just pick a page of Jamboard. It's basically just a simple whiteboard where you can add post-its to it, just to record some of your, the goal is just to have you all have a conversation of reflection about what you just saw. If there aren't any questions, and if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat, but I don't see any at the moment. So I think you can send us off, Julia, please.
Hi there. You're muted. Did you get kicked off?
No, I was having trouble on my phone accessing, so I switched to my laptop. I'm in the room with Serena, Samia, and Joan, though.
Okay, let me.
Got me back in there.
Serena, let me find them.
Oh, it's room 6.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that makes it easier. Room 6. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome back, everybody. I did want to thank you all. I mean, our group got kind of cut off there at the end. Sorry, group. I know everybody cut. It is the problem with breakouts is we always are mid-sentence. Unfortunately, it seems. In the interest of time, because I know we did want to kind of solicit some broader feedback. I did want to just kind of give folks. I'm not sure, Medina. I was going to have folks just drop kind of key takeaways or thoughts. If they hadn't put them on the Jamboard, just put them into the chat, and then I was going to record those, take them out of the chat, because I did want to make sure we had time for the last chunk. Do you want to have any share outs right now, or do you want to move on?
Actually, please, like you said, anything for share outs specific to this topic, please drop them into the chat so that they can be recorded. I do not want anything that's of value lost. So if you could just take a few seconds while it's still fresh in your mind to get them into the chat really quickly so Brian can record that, that would be perfect. Awesome. Because we are ending at 8 o'clock, because I don't want to usurp all of your time, I'm super happy that you're joining us. I do want to move on just in case there are any topics for our Q&A that we want to cover that aren't about this topic. We can go ahead and address them now. However, if this is the hot topic and this is what we want to continue on, I'm totally fine with that. I'm open to it. So, I'm going to hand it back over to our moderator, Miss Lovely Angela, if you want to go ahead. Excuse me, if you want to take it over.
Okay, thank you, Medina. Yes, so we have arrived at the question and answer portion of the event. And welcome back, because we were having a great conversation in my group. So again, I think it's really awesome that we have this opportunity to collaborate and build community together. So let's take this opportunity to ask questions. And so how that will happen is you can use the chat function at the bottom of the screen to add your question, or you can email the question if you don't want to use the chat, to the email listed on the slide. And also, if you would like to bring more comments from our last conversation into the chat, we can do that as well. Maybe we just do a combination of that. Just please make your questions as concise as possible so we can get as many in as possible. And we will, if you feel that your question hasn't been answered appropriately, because I will give it to the panel of leadership here that's with us to answer, just email us and we will get back to you with a more expansive answer. So why don't I go to the chat? I will call out your name, and if you could please, if you do have a question, I just, oh, what happened? If you could ask it, that would be wonderful. Let me see, where is this? So, managing technology, never a dull moment.
Angela,
yes.
I just stopped the share so people can see each other when we get into the Q&A. So I can continue sharing, but I think we wanted to have it so people can see each other, right?
Exactly. Okay, no problem. Okay, so Ralph Simpson has a question. Ralph, do you want to read that out to the larger group?
Sure. So I noticed during a few of the survey responses where African-American students had some of the lower percentage, I guess, satisfaction responses compared to some of the other groups there. But I was curious, what wasn't provided was the gender breakdown of those responses. So is there a difference in gender in terms of maybe the males were clearly less satisfied than the females or vice versa? And then if there is a big difference, then do those students feel like they have a teacher or an administrator of their same race and gender to explore some of their concerns with if needed? So those would be some things I would be curious to find out in the future.
Can someone from the panel answer that?
Yeah, so I did put a quick chat. It's going to take a little bit of digging because we have the data overall on gender. I would have to go into the raw data to kind of see among African American students what the gender breakdown was, but I'm happy to provide that at the next convening.
Thank you.
Okay,
and
great.
as a general rule, I would just say there was some overall, there was some discrepancy. Most questions, the students were, gender was pretty neutral. It was pretty consistent across both. But there was a few where gender clearly had some influence on the particular question. So it's important to look into.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Angela,
Kelly,
I'm sorry.
yes.
Sorry, I want Ralph. Could you introduce? And you don't have any time on the agenda. Could you briefly introduce yourself and what you do? I know you've been involved with Lincoln, and your family's made a scholarship. So if you got a few seconds to let people know who you are and
Okay.
what you do, I think that would benefit all of us.
Sure. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. So my name is Ralph Simpson Jr., and I'll start off by saying that my father, Ralph Sr., served as vice president of the Black Parents Association from 1988 through 1995 under Ethel Batiste at the time, who was president. So I'm a 1991 graduate of San Mateo High School. I then went off to Tuskegee University, and now am in my 19th year of employment with Lincoln University as the director for the Office of Career Services. And we're proud of our 6-month job placement rate of 47%, which is among the top 10 of all HBCUs. And our top reported salary was $85,000 a year at the bachelor's level. So we have some success there. But since I've been kind of in the South or the East Coast for the majority of my adult career, I've tried to maintain contact with the Black Parents Association, particularly with the passing of my father back in 2015. There's been a scholarship in his name that the Black Parents Association started. So we deeply appreciate that. I've also been a volunteer assistant coach with the San Mateo High School boys tennis team. I'm probably the last African-American tennis player to play varsity tennis for any of the San Mateo high schools as far as tennis is concerned. And I was the #1 tennis player at Tuskegee University during my collegiate career. So those are some of the things that I've done to try and stay in touch, even though I'm here in Newark, Delaware now.
Wow. Well, thank you, Ralph, for that. So Kelly Underwood, you had a couple comments. This is an opportunity maybe to share some of those? Do you want, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let my son share because he and one of the other members were really in our small group, the ones who brought this up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Emulin Rasmus. I am a student at Middle College at CSM. And in regard to, I think, the education and trying to have discussion, one point that I've noticed as being a student within the San Antonio High School District is, I think, just there has to be a great emphasis on having students lead and having, I think, especially students of minority ethnic backgrounds be involved in creating these programs. And although I do value adults and I think their expertise, I found that it's difficult to have honest conversations where you feel as if this person understands what you've been through or has, I think, an equal, relationship to you and the students. And I think it would be really interesting if we could have a program where not only the admin is working, but also having students come together, try to work on solving problems such as the use of racial slurs and other issues that I think students that reckon themselves have the power to help solve, but have not been given the tools or been taught how to do so yet.
Thank you. Any response to that from our panel?
I can respond to that. There is a student equity team that just has become pretty active this year, and they are welcoming more members. And I know last semester, they put on an administrator teach-in, and they talked about some of these issues to share with adults and basically teach the administrators on some of these topics. We just met with some of those co-leads this week, and they are planning to have their next project to be an assembly, a student-led assembly at each one of our schools on the topic of kind of racial equity. And I know they're really active on social media, and like I said, they are welcoming new members. I know they would love to have some students that are here with us tonight join them. So we still have more work to do beyond that, but it is some of the stuff that is, they also feel very strongly, to your point, that students should be educating both the adults on this topic and, other students as well. So there are some good work happening, and we can share some of that as we move forward as they gather around that.
Thank you, Julia. So we have a question from Daniel Feld, a few questions. Daniel, did you want to ask that to the larger panel?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna let my wife read it because she's also the one who typed it, so.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Nahal Feld. I was just curious about the dialogue that's going on these days. If teachers are given guidance to talk about current events and kind of what conversations are happening in the classroom right now with the social climate.
Go ahead, Dr. Skelly.
Well, a lot of conversations. I mean, obviously, everywhere you go, there are conversations about what's happening. I want to, maybe, I know if I hate to put somebody on the spot, but we have several of our principals here who have been engaged in staff meetings and then had those conversations. Pam or Jeff, if you wanted to offer some thoughts here, you're closer to the grain than I am, but I know this has been a huge part of discussions in classes, particularly probably in social studies classes, but I'll let you guys comment.
Yeah, I can start at Hillsdale. I think there are really two issues that I hear in the question. One is just the immediacy of what's happened last week and in this over the last 7 days, and then what's going to continue to happen into the foreseeable future. And so number one, I think we've really benefited from having ethnic studies as a home base in terms of curriculum in at least the ninth grade, but also, we were quickly organized to have our social studies department. They got together, they tried to craft some basic lesson plans and use our time. We have a collaboration time before school. So they were able to meet and have discussion and able to develop some lesson plans, which allowed the rest of our staff to, I think, have a sense that it was being addressed. And that we were going to talk about it. And we're going to try to do that in an organized manner. I think other teachers wanted to have conversation, wanted to make sure they were open to listening and to attending to students and really considering how they were handling it in terms of just their own response to the events of the day, but that they didn't necessarily have to if they weren't prepared to. Because I think you're right. Some teachers, either through training or just their own capacity, feel very comfortable in having these conversations, and some don't. I think the second part of your question is just, how do we do this? How do we not react to the moment, but how do we have resources in place? And I think that Julia might be able to talk about that. I think the district has responded to try to create a catalog or inventory of resources that we can turn to whenever incidents like this happen. Those are just a couple of thoughts.
I think Pam, you added quite a few in the chat here. That's pretty.
Sorry. Yeah, I put some in there. I don't think the links work in the chat though on Zoom, but it gives you kind of an idea of the resources that we're sharing with staff about how to hold these conversations in the classroom and have safe spaces for our students to engage in dialogue and to ask questions. And we really feel it's important now more than ever. Our students are with us, and they're watching these things happen ever since, this summer. We've been, working together as a team, and there is a professional learning community. I know that is convening at Mills just around anti-racist teaching practices and resources. And we actually have one of those teachers here with us this evening, Serena Argy. So she's on the ground with students every day, and she might be able to speak to a little bit about how those conversations are going with students.
Yeah, so I'll make it quick. So in the class, it was kind of shocking. So a teacher shared, trying to focus on letting students sort of express and letting it be voluntary in the moment. So I teach video. And so giving them an opportunity to sort of express through like a quote or an image of what they are and kind of create the space and give opportunity for them if they would want to discuss in groups and kind of honor choice. I know there are teachers that have done more in depth. I also have different clubs, and with those clubs, like in the Black Student Union with Mills and CAP, we definitely went into it and went into detail and really trying to create a space to process and to support them and where they're at and how were their experiences in the classroom. And so that is something that we've kind of did. I think it always could be better, but I don't want to take up too much space.
Well, that actually, I think Ms. Cotton, you were going to ask a question around that very topic. So was that answered for you?
Yeah, it was in line with Mr. and Mrs. Fell's question as well. But in terms of, I think someone had mentioned kind of having it to be a choice in terms of how that dialogue is happening. Like I mentioned in one of our breakout groups, I thought it was great. I was part of a racial injustice dialogue that a few of the teachers at Hillsdale High School had this year with their students, which really opened up dialogue in regards to race. And I really thought it was a great way for students who weren't even very comfortable maybe with sharing, but to just listen to the speakers that were a part of the forum. They were able to prepare questions in advance for the speakers to address, and I thought it was just a really great way to provide an educational platform around race, racial injustice, and racial disparities for those students. And I think as we really approach getting into Black History Month, I know personally it was always challenging, especially with, Black students being underrepresented and minorities in the classroom, the curriculum that is taught, being that a lot of the curriculum addresses slavery and the N-word, and being that one or two students in a classroom, how uncomfortable that oftentimes feels. Ways to really highlight Black history and the education of Black history, not only just in the month of February, but the curriculum that we're teaching the students would also be a great way. It's not just about slavery, but there are a lot of other topics. Black people have been influential in inventing things throughout this world that we can hopefully incorporate in today's curriculum and going forward. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. So we are running out of time, just having such important conversations, it's difficult to contain time. So we'll just take one last question and we will wrap up. Miss Jabari Norton has a question. Jabari, would you like to ask that question?
The last question or the earlier
Yeah,
question?
the last question, the last one. I think it's
Well, I
a
think the
great
question
way
is
to
like,
end. Yes.
you know, like, what else can we do? How else can we help?
Yep.
I mean, that's my biggest thing is, I
No,
mean, it's
so-
great seeing all the faces, all the people, what we can do. How do we keep this going? How do we help? How do we do more?
So I think Medina is always looking for folks to help her. Maybe Medina, you could put your email address in the chat here for folks to get it. You know, I think to me, you know, I was reflecting, Cynthia Eagleton was in one of my groups, and you know, that used to be there were 3 or 4 or 5 parents who would come to San Mateo High School for a monthly meeting, and now we're getting, you know, 50 people, or you know, at a meeting, and really. You know, there's a lot more going on. And so this has been one of the blessings of Zoom, is that I think creating this affinity group is possible in this virtual space in ways that wasn't. And I think from what I hear from parents is that, you know, you're hungry for these opportunities. And so, you know, we only have a few students here, but I can just imagine that they're hungry for the same kinds of conversations. So I think our challenge is to do that. Natalie asked a question about Black History Month and the do's and don'ts, and you know, there's a lot of pieces that we're looking at it in that area as well. So I think Jabari, I think to keep coming to our meetings, you know, to keep sharing your experiences. And for us to continue to listen to what the experiences are of parents, and then particularly the students, because as has been mentioned, you know, they make up a small part in terms of percentages of our student body. And so how do we make sure that they can feel fully a part of our school district?
And to dovetail on to what Kevin is saying, how do you help? It's by spreading the word. Like, you all showed up here tonight and we appreciate it, but also tell your friends, tell your other parents, have your student show up with you and sit right next to you. And that way we're spreading the word. We are listening to you and you're hearing it as well. The more that we build our community, the more that we can do, because we need your ideas too. We as the Black Parents Association, we have our ideas, and so we bring them to the table. The school district, they have their ideas and they bring them to the tables. The more ideas that we have from you all, the more that we can then build our tribe. So we can do more, we expand our territory. So it's important that we continue to grow. So by showing up and showing out, the more that we change the landscape, that is equity in action. So that's really how we can continue to help and to do more. So because we are at time, so thank you, Miss Angela, for keeping us on track. Very much appreciated. I first would like to allow Bob Griffin, if you're still, yes, you are, to give us your closing remarks, sir, before I give mine.
I'm sorry, Bob, not to interrupt, but before we go into that, first of all, thank you to everyone we built community tonight, and that is the most important takeaway. So everyone here, thank you for coming. If you can just take a moment to do the brief survey, we would appreciate it. Julia, can you put that in the chat? There are 2 brief surveys for tonight's evening, and then I will pass that on to the amazing Bob Griffin and Medina to wrap up the evening with their closing remarks. Thank you, everyone, again.
I know I already gave all my time away. I want to thank everybody for committing time this evening. And I really want to recognize the student speakers. They did a really marvelous job. It's, you know, it's tough. I know it's tough getting out here and talking even on Zoom. The one thing I would like to see next time, I'd like to see a lot more students participate. So all the students, bring some more with you. I think we get more energy and we get more insight into what's really going on out there. We love parents, but we really love students. So this is, the second in the series. And the one thing I'll say about this, we've had 2 meetings, and we're not going to have a magical transformation based on 2 meetings. I expect this is a long journey, and I expect that we all should be a little uncomfortable as we go through this journey. We've got to be out of our comfort zone. We got to have these difficult dialogues, and sometimes people like me, my feelings may get hurt, but I'll get over it. So I thank everybody, and Medina, your show. Thank you for all you've done. So.
Well, right on, Bob. I echo your sentiments completely. To the young women who showed up today, kudos to you. You are amazing leaders at your schools and your community. Thank you so much. And to everyone who showed up tonight, thank you for your time, because you could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here with us. So thank you for supporting the community. Thank you for supporting your students. Thank you for supporting yourselves. And please do fill out the surveys. One is for unity and community and feedback on that, but also the survey for participation in the parent focus group. So please, if you have time, do that. We are looking forward to doing more equity in action, like I said. So each one, teach one, but also tell one, please, or tell 10, forget one, tell 10, and bring them to this meeting, because we're going to keep doing more and more and more. And like the young man said, who was sitting next to his mother, he said that we need to empower more students to lead. I am with him 110%. So let's do more of that. And I'm really excited for our next installment and all that we have planned for 2021. So with that, I bid you guys adieu. Have a really good night.
Thanks to everyone. I thought we had a really nice meeting tonight. I learned. So thanks, Medina. Kimya, it's good to see you on the call here, and to see your son there. That was really wonderful. And Ralph, when you come back to town, let's play some tennis. The older I get, the better I was. So we could have some fun playing tennis.
Will do. I put my email in the chat box, so few minutes ago. So anybody looking to contact me, just shoot me an email. Appreciate it.
Laura, thank you for your work here. This wouldn't have gone on nearly as well if you hadn't been here. So thanks so much.
Well, I think kudos to Julia too. The reason I'm hanging on is I'm taking screenshots of the chat. So I'm going to sign off in just a minute.
Okay. All right.
Laura, I think I'm trying to, you can download it, which I'm trying to do right now.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll hang on with you until we make sure we've got that.
Okay, yeah.
For some reason, it just wouldn't let me copy and paste. And I think it has to do with the settings. But anyway, I'm going to stop our YouTube recording.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Julia, I noticed that both of you guys are still at work.
Well, I find it easier.
Yeah.
I don't have potentially screaming children in the background, and I have 2 screens here. And
so, Julia, I think it will either stop when we end the meeting, or you have to stop the streaming.
Oh, here, I'll stop it.
Okay.
Right. Good night, you guys.
Good night.
See you early tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So stop. Okay, I stopped it. And now,
It says live on YouTube to me, but that's, I mean, it's okay. It'll stop when we stop.